Let us begin with a confession. You are probably afraid of snakes right now. Even reading the word snake made your shoulders tense, your eyes scan the floor. Your brain, that ancient paranoid machine, whispered, "Somewhere, somehow, a snake is watching you." Here is the hilarious truth. The snake is also afraid. It is terrified of you. It thinks you are a giant, stomping, screaming monster that will trample it into paste. So if a snake bites you, it is not being evil, it is not being vengeful, it is having a panic attack. Welcome to the most misunderstood animal on planet Earth. No legs, no eyelids, no ears that you can see, no arms to hug its children, no hands to build anything. And yet, snakes have conquered every continent except Antarctica. They have survived the asteroid that killed the dinosaurs. They have learned to fly, well, glide through the jungles of Southeast Asia. They can swallow an animal larger than their own head because their jawbones are not actually connected. They're held together by stretchy ligaments that would make a yoga instructor weep with envy. A snake can go 2 years without eating. 2 years. That is not an animal. That is a survival machine, wrapped in scales and bad reputation. Today, we are going to tell you the real biography of a snake, not the villain from the Garden of Eden, not the monster from horror movies, a real snake, born in a pile of rotting leaves, dead under the wheels of a truck, or of old age in a sunbeam, or maybe halfway inside a mongoose's mouth. Her name does not matter, her species does not matter, because all snakes, from the tiny thread snake that looks like a noodle to the 30-foot python that can eat a deer, share the same ridiculous, magnificent, terrifying life story. Let us meet her. Our protagonist is a female common cobra, Naja, born in a termite mound in rural Rajasthan, India. The date was late August, the end of the monsoon. Her mother had laid 20 eggs in the deep warmth of the abandoned termite nest, a natural incubator that stays at a perfect 85 degrees Fahrenheit while the outside world floods and steams. Our snake was not the first to hatch. She was the 7th. She broke out of her leathery egg using a special egg tooth, a tiny spike on her snout that would fall off after a few days. When she emerged, she was just 8 inches long, as thin as a pencil, and already fully venomous. That is right. A baby cobra can kill a human from the moment it hatches. It does not know this. It is just hungry. Her birthplace was a landscape of dry scrubland, millet fields, and human villages. The nearest house was 200 meters away. The nearest rat was 10 meters away. Her mother did not stay. Most snake mothers lay their eggs and leave forever. Our hatchling was alone within minutes. She did not cry. She did not look for her mother. She simply slithered out of the termite mound and into a world that wanted to kill her. Her first struggle came within 6 hours. A crow spotted her crossing open ground. Crows love eating baby snakes. The crow dove. Our snake did something extraordinary for a creature only hours old. She flattened her neck into a tiny hood, raised her front half off the ground, and hissed. The crow pulled up at the last second. It circled once, then flew away. The snake had never seen another cobra. She had never been taught to hood. It was instinct, 100 million years of evolution screaming through her tiny body. Look bigger, look scarier, look like you are not worth the fight. By the end of her first week, she had eaten 3 geckos, 1 frog, and a grasshopper that she immediately threw up because she could not digest the legs. She learned. She would not eat grasshoppers again. By the end of her first month, she had been chased by a mongoose, bitten by a centipede, and nearly crushed by a passing water buffalo. She survived all of it, because she was small enough to hide in cracks that nothing else could enter. Her life was not a story. It was a series of narrow escapes strung together by hunger.
What defines a snake?
Let us start with the body, because the snake's body is the strangest design in vertebrate history. A snake has no legs, but it can move in at least 4 different ways. Concertina movement, anchoring part of the body and pulling the rest forward, like an inchworm. Sidewinding, throwing loops of its body sideways across hot sand, touching the ground at only 2 points at a time. Rectilinear movement, using its belly scales like tank treads, creeping forward so slowly that you cannot see it move. And serpentine, the classic S-curve, pushing against rocks and grass to slither at speed. A snake has no ears, no external openings, but it hears through its jawbone. It rests its jaw on the ground, and vibrations travel through the bone to its inner ear. That is why a snake cannot hear you scream. It can only feel you stomp. A snake has no eyelids. Its eyes are covered by a single transparent scale called a spectacle. When a snake sleeps, its eyes stay open. That is why people think snakes are always watching. They are not. They are just unable to blink. A snake has a forked tongue. Each fork collects scent particles from the air and transfers them to an organ in the roof of its mouth called the Jacobson's organ. The snake touches its tongue to this organ and tastes the air. It can tell which direction a smell is coming from because one fork gets a stronger signal than the other. That is how a blind snake finds a mouse in total darkness. A snake has an astonishing number of ribs. Humans have 24. Snakes have 200 to 400, depending on the species. Each rib is connected to a set of muscles that move the scales. A snake does not slither by wiggling its spine like a fish. It slithers by moving its ribs. Now, about venom. Only about 15% of snake species are venomous to humans. The rest are constrictors, or harmless toothless gulpers. But our cobra is venomous. Her venom is a cocktail of neurotoxins that paralyze the nervous system. A single bite from an adult cobra contains enough venom to kill 20 people. But here's the thing. Cobras do not want to waste venom on you. Venom takes energy to produce. A cobra would much rather save its venom for a rat that it can eat. Most snake bites happen because a human stepped on the snake or tried to kill it. The snake was defending itself. As for lifespan, a wild cobra lives 10 to 15 years. In captivity, some have lived to 25. As for qualities, snakes are patient beyond human comprehension. A python can lie perfectly still for 3 months waiting for a single meal. A rattlesnake can strike in 50 milliseconds, faster than a human can blink. A snake never stops growing. It sheds its skin 4 to 12 times per year, each time emerging larger, brighter, and more vulnerable because its new skin is soft. During shedding, a snake is blind because the old spectacle has not yet come off its eyes. It is also frightened. That is when most snakes bite, not from anger, from fear. And here's the quality that humans never acknowledge. Snakes are gentle mothers. Not all snakes, but some. The female python coils around her eggs for 2 to 3 months, never eating, shivering her muscles to generate heat, defending the eggs from anything that approaches. She will die for eggs that are not even alive yet. That is not cold-blooded. That is love, in its own scaly, ancient, reptilian way.
Now let us talk about the snake's daily struggle. Because a snake's life is a mathematical problem. She must eat, she must not be eaten. There is almost nothing in between. Our cobra's first year was a gauntlet. At 3 months old, she was eaten by a crate. Wait, no, she almost was. A banded crate, another venomous snake, found her sleeping under a rock. The crate bit her. Cobras are immune to many snake venoms, but not all. Our cobra swelled up. Her scales turned dark. She stopped moving for 2 days. Then, miraculously, her immune system fought off the venom. She survived. She slithered away with a scar on her side that she would carry for life. At 6 months old, a farmer spotted her in his millet field. He raised his hoe. She hooded. He swung. She dodged. He swung again. She fled into a rat hole. The farmer stood outside for 10 minutes, waiting. Then he left. She stayed in that hole for 3 days, too terrified to come out. At 1 year old, she was nearly stepped on by an elephant. The elephant's foot came down 6 inches from her head. The ground shook. She did not strike. She froze. Freezing is the snake's first defense. If you cannot see a snake, it is often because the snake has chosen to be invisible. At 2 years old, she found a rat. A big, fat, juicy rat that had been eating the farmer's grain. She tracked it by smell. She followed it into a storage shed. The rat saw her. It stood on its hind legs and squeaked. She struck. The bite landed on the rat's shoulder. The rat ran. The cobra followed. The rat ran into a crack in the wall. The cobra waited. 45 minutes later, the rat stumbled out paralyzed. She ate it. That was her first real meal in 2 weeks. She would remember that shed. She would return every few nights. The farmer who had tried to kill her 6 months earlier never saw her, but his grain loss stopped. He did not know why. That is the snake's secret. It helps the very humans who hate it.
How is the snake useful to humans? Let us count the ways that will shock you. First, rodent control. A single adult cobra eats 200 to 300 rats per year. Rats eat 20% of the world's stored grain. Without snakes, we would have famines, not someday, now. Second, medical research. Snake venom has given us some of the most important drugs in human history. Captopril, a drug that treats high blood pressure and heart failure, was developed from the venom of the Brazilian pit viper. Eptifibatide, which prevents heart attacks, comes from the venom of the southeastern pygmy rattlesnake. Scientists are now using snake venom to develop treatments for cancer, Alzheimer's disease, and chronic pain. The snake that you fear may one day save your life. Third, ecosystem balance. Snakes eat frogs, lizards, and insects. They are eaten by eagles, mongooses, and other snakes. They are a critical link in every web food. Remove snakes, and you get plagues of rodents, explosions of insects, and crop collapses. Fourth, cultural knowledge. In many parts of the world, snake charmers and traditional healers have passed down knowledge of snake behavior for thousands of years. That knowledge has helped develop antivenoms and snakebite treatments. Now, what can humans learn from the snake? First, patience. The snake does not chase, it waits. It trusts that the mouse will eventually come close. Humans chase everything: money, love, success, and exhaust themselves. The snake teaches us to wait. Second, shedding. The snake grows by leaving its old skin behind. It does not cling to what no longer fits. Humans carry old identities, old grievances, old versions of ourselves. The snake says, "Let it go. It is dead. You are not." Third, silence. The snake makes almost no sound. It does not need to announce itself. Its presence is enough. Humans talk too much. We fill every silence with noise. The snake teaches us that silence is power. Fourth, that fear is not hatred. The snake does not hate you. It fears you. Most human conflicts come from mistaking fear for hatred. The snake reminds us that what we call evil is often just terror. Fifth, that small things are deadly. A tiny snake can kill a giant. Humans worship size and strength. The snake teaches us to respect the small, the quiet, the overlooked. Sixth, that you do not need legs to move forward. The snake has no feet, but it reaches its destination. Humans make excuses. The snake makes progress. Now let us return to our cobra. At 5 years old, she was fully grown. She was 5 feet long, with a hood that spread wide as a human hand. She had survived everything: crows, crates, farmers, elephants, droughts, floods. She had a territory of 100 acres, a patchwork of fields, rock piles, abandoned wells, and termite mounds. She knew every crack, every rat hole, every sunning rock. She had mated twice. The first time she laid 12 eggs in a termite mound. She did not stay. The second time she laid 18 eggs in a compost heap behind a village. She stayed for 3 days, guarding the eggs, before hunger drove her away. She did not know if any of her offspring survived. That is the snake's tragedy. She gives life and then disappears. At 8 years old, she was bitten by a rat. Not a venomous bite, a simple infected wound from a rat's incisor. The wound swelled. She stopped eating. She lay in the sun for hours, trying to raise her body temperature to fight the infection. It worked, barely. She survived. She lost 1/3 of her body weight. At 10 years old, she met a mongoose. The mongoose was not afraid of her. Mongooses have evolved partial resistance to cobra venom. They are also fast, agile, and vicious. The mongoose circled her. She hooded. The mongoose feinted left. She struck. The mongoose dodged. The mongoose bit her tail. She twisted. The mongoose bit her neck. She wrapped her body around the mongoose and squeezed. The mongoose bit again. For 90 seconds they rolled in the dust. Then the mongoose broke free. It ran away. She slithered into a crack in a rock. Both survived. Both would carry scars. At 12 years old, she was old by cobra standards. Her scales were dull. Her strikes were slow. She had trouble catching rats. She started eating frogs again, like when she was a baby. She spent most of her days basking on a particular flat rock near an abandoned well. She had been using that rock for 8 years. It was worn smooth by her scales. Our cobra died at 13 years and 4 months. She was found by a boy collecting firewood. The boy screamed. His father came running with a stick. The cobra did not move. She was already dead. Her body was stiff. Her hood collapsed. Her eyes, still open because they could never close, were milky with death. The father hit her twice with the stick, to be sure. Then he threw her body into the well. That was the end. No ceremony, no name. No one knew that she had killed 1,500 rats in her lifetime, that she had saved enough grain to feed a family for 10 years, that her venom had been studied by scientists who would develop new medicines, that she had given birth to 30 hatchlings, and that at least 6 of them had survived to adulthood. No one knew. But here is the final truth. That boy who screamed, he grew up. He became a doctor. He now treats snakebite victims in a rural hospital. He does not kill snakes anymore. He captures them and releases them far from villages. He tells his patients, "The snake did not want to hurt you. You surprised it. You scared it. It was defending itself." He does not know that the first snake he ever saw, the dead cobra in the well, taught him that lesson, but it did. And as you read this, somewhere in India, a baby cobra is hatching inside a termite mound. It is 8 inches long, thin as a pencil, and already deadly. It has no mother. It has no teacher. It has only instinct, fear, and hunger. It will slither out into a world that wants to kill it. It will probably die before its first birthday. But if it survives, if it dodges the crows and the crates and the farmers and the elephants, it will live 13 years. It will kill 3,000 rats. It will save more human lives than most humans ever will, and no one will thank it. That is the snake's biography. Not a villain, not a monster, a survivor, a helper, a creature that has been on this planet for over 100 million years, watching us evolve from shrew-like things into empire builders. And when we are gone, when our cities have crumbled and our monuments have fallen, the snake will still be here, slithering through the ruins, blinking without eyelids, listening through its jaw, waiting for the next mouse. That is not terrifying. That is beautiful. In its own cold, scaly,